Hey everyone, Sam here from Sugar Spun Run, and today I'll be showing you how to make Spritz cookies. If you are anything like me, you probably grew up making Spritz cookies around the holidays. Maybe you remember that clunky, I don't know if it was aluminum or tin or whatever, cookie press that always left your hands sore after trying to squeeze out the dough. I recently invested in a very nice cookie press. I'm going to link to this in the description below if you want to get your own, but if you have that old cookie press, you can use that instead. To begin, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, you will need 2 sticks or 1 cup of unsalted butter, and you want this to be softened to room temperature. We're going to add this to a large bowl, and we'll also add 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. Add 1½ teaspoons of vanilla extract and a ½ teaspoon of salt. Now, if you're looking for any of these ingredients in metric measurements, if you prefer to use weight rather than cups when baking, I do have all of those listed in the printable recipe. I'll leave that link in the description. If you head over there, you will have all metric measurements. So now we are going to use an electric mixer, and we're going to cream together our butter, our sugar, our vanilla, and our salt. Now we're going to add just 1 large egg yolk to our batter. We are leaving out the white. The white would make our cookies a little bit more prone to spreading. I recommend leaving that out and just using the yolk, which is going to help make our cookies nice and tender. We'll beat that in. And I just want to scrape the sides and the bottom of the bowl right now because my mixer's having trouble getting up the sides. So you'll want to make sure all your ingredients are well combined. So I really recommend scraping the sides of the bowl. Next, you'll need 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. I like to add this gradually to my butter mixture. I'll add it in about 3 or 4 parts, stirring really well after each addition so that the mixture gets really well combined. You want a smooth cookie dough here. This dough has the tendency to get pretty stiff and pretty crumbly, especially since the mixer has trouble getting all of the flour that settles to the bottom of the bowl. So I definitely recommend using your spatula and just kind of scraping up that flour. Everything will come together, but it really helps if you scrape your bowl. Now, if you want to dye your Spritz cookie dough, you can certainly do that. Sometimes I like to add just a little dab of gel food coloring. I like to make mine green when I'm making Christmas trees. If you want to do different colors, you certainly can. Today we are just doing plain or regular color. So now is where your cookie press comes in. What you're going to do is you're going to take some of this dough and you're going to form it between your hands into a log, and we're going to load that into our cookie press. And obviously we're going to be doing this in batches because not all of that cookie dough is going to fit in all at once. Now, if you find that your dough is too sticky to manage, you can toss it in the fridge for about 15 minutes. It shouldn't take very long to get firm enough that it's not sticky on your hands. For me, I usually don't need to chill it. Now comes the fun part, and you get to pick your shapes for your Spritz cookies. I'm just going to be using a few different ones. I've got some Christmas trees I'm going to be making because the holidays are right around the corner. Another thing I want to note is that while I generally really like using parchment paper, it doesn't really work when you're making Spritz cookies. The Spritz cookies kind of rely on the baking pan the cookie sticking to the baking pan, and if you use parchment paper, it sticks to the paper and the paper comes up with the cookie. It's a huge pain, so I pipe these cookies directly onto the baking sheet. Now with Spritz cookies, these are not going to spread very much at all, so you can pipe them pretty close to each other. I usually recommend leaving about 1 inch between each cookie. My cookie press has options so I can make thicker or thinner cookies. Yours might do the same. Really, if you want bigger cookies, you just press more dough out through your press. It's pretty simple. And usually when I need to refill my cookie press, I take the opportunity to switch on a different decorative plate and make different shapes of cookies. So long as you're piping them around the same size, you can do different shapes on the same tray. Now this step is optional. I like to decorate my Spritz cookies with a little bit of sprinkles. I like using sanding sugar or small nonpareils. The skinnier, smaller cookies have trouble holding onto it. The fatter ones do a better job, but I still like to add a little bit just for a little extra color. Now we will bake these cookies in our 350 degree Fahrenheit preheated oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. Now the time will vary if you are piping larger or smaller cookies, but what you're looking for is you want the edges of your cookies to just be beginning to turn a light golden brown. You'll let your Spritz cookies cool on the cookie sheet for about 5 minutes before using a spatula to remove them to a cooling rack where you'll let them cool completely. Now, if you're going to use this same pan to bake more Spritz cookies, you want to make sure that you let it cool completely before adding any more cookies to the pan. And that is how I make Spritz cookies. I really like these Christmas trees until a minute ago my little sister told me that they actually look like dinosaur feet prints. So whichever shape you decide to make, I think you're really going to enjoy this recipe anyways. It makes for really light, buttery cookies, and as you just saw, it's really simple to make, only one bowl is needed. If you guys try this recipe out, please leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.